Hello everyone, my name is Zeno Menska, and in this video we are going to look at the best upcoming PS5 games of 2021 and beyond. Okay, so let's start with the first one, Returnal. The game is set to transform roguelike gameplay into a third-person shooter. With every death, the planet will change, so it looks like you'll have to keep adapting to your surroundings. As a PS5 exclusive, Returnal takes advantage of the console's special features like fast loading and 3D audio. In the trailer, we see a lone astronaut on an alien world. It has a very intense kind of a mood to it, with some fast-paced combat and plenty intrigue. The game is made by Housemarque, the developer behind PlayStation gems like Resogun and Alienation, so it's definitely worth the wait. Up next, we've got Black Myth: Wukong. The game may not be the household name yet, but it's already attracted a lot of attention following its trailer. This is the first large-scale project from Chinese indie developer Game Science, and it looks incredibly ambitious. Its prior releases have mainly been free-to-play PC and mobile games. Wukong appears to be a third-person action game in the vein of Dark Souls. The core of the combat system revolves around time dodges and attacks. However, unlike the Souls series, the player character in Black Myth: Wukong will be able to use a variety of special abilities that include shapeshifting and cloning. So the game has the potential to be a massive title when it eventually launches. Turtle Rock Studios are returning to run and gun zombie co-op under a new name, but don't be fooled, this is essentially a Left 4 Dead game, which we are all for. Having spent some time with the alpha, we can assure Left 4 Dead fans that the same frantic team-focused gameplay, distinctive style, and loud personality are back in Back 4 Blood. Overall, my first experience with Back 4 Blood felt like just the right balance between old and familiar and new and fresh.
Need to finish them off and fast! Ah!
Yes, Final Fantasy XVI has officially been confirmed, and it's said to be a PlayStation console exclusive that will come to the PS5. Produced by Final Fantasy XIV director Naoki Yoshida and directed by Hiroshi Takai, the debut trailer was revealed during the most recent PS5 showcase, giving us our first proper look at the next installment. The game is set in the land of Valistia, divided into 6 realms and dominated by mountainous mother crystals, the source of the magic in the world. From what we can tell of the gameplay showed off in the announcement trailer, Final Fantasy XVI looks like it's set to bring evolution, not revolution to the series' recent gameplay. Like 15, it would seem we'll get real-time combat to keep things active, but the system looks a little more reactive and quick.
It was the Dalmex who drove back the Crusaders in the Battle of the Twin Realms.
Monkey's got a date.
Beyond Good and Evil 2 may be one of the longest awaited games out there. Since its unveiling in 2017, we've seen several impressive trailers and gameplay updates, but any details surrounding its release have been few and far between. As you know, this game is actually a prequel to Jade and Peiji's journalistic escapades in the original game, taking on a much grander scale in cyberpunk, Luc Besson-looking future full of high-tech ships and anthropomorphic animals. The game will be a third-person action-adventure game set in an open world allowing players to explore the galaxy, and will include both single-player and multiplayer support. Up next, we've got Gotham Knights. Having the choice to play as a Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, and Robin, this is a game set in Gotham that won't put spotlight on Batman. With Bruce Wayne out of the picture after having allegedly died in a Batcave explosion, it's up to the rest of the Bat family to handle the unrest in Gotham following his death. It's a drop-in, drop-out, co-op affair with an open-world action-adventure gameplay style. Expect to see plenty of DC villains try to take control of Gotham in Batman's absence, meaning the Gotham Knights have definitely got their hands full. Project Athea is an upcoming fantasy action title and it looks impressive. The trailer opens with the words, "In a world not her own," telling us the game's protagonist has likely become stranded on a craggy, mountainous planet that we catch glimpses of throughout the short trailer. So it was definitely intriguing, but we sadly don't know too much about the game just yet. Project Athea is planned to be a full console exclusive for a minimum of 24 months. So Xbox gamers are out of luck from the looks of things. Our next game is Deathloop. Deathloop is about an assassin named Colt stuck in a loop of one single day on an island called Black Reef. Apparently, the only way to break out of the loop is to kill 8 visionaries, the folks who are keepers of the loop. The trick is, Colt has to kill them all in 24 hours or the loop resets, and dying resets it as well. The game will allow players to choose their own preferred playstyles. If you hate stealth, you can just go full action. If you are a stealth advocate, however, you can creep through each level concealed in the shadows. There's no wrong or right way to play, and thanks to an arsenal of savage weaponry and the promise of unspecified powers, you can blend brains, brawn, and little sorcery to play your way and identify multiple pathways to success. Our next game is Ghostwire Tokyo. As people start evaporating from neon-lit streets of Tokyo, it's clear that something's not quite right. In Ghostwire Tokyo, strange shadowy figures begin patrolling the streets and terrifying monsters based on Japanese lore and legends. It's being made by the same studio that brought you survival horror, The Evil Within, which is promising. You, as the main character, remain as a strange, evil force arrives in the city that may be responsible for the disappearances. It's your job to track it down and get to the bottom of what's happening using your own spectral abilities to combat the darkness. It's finally happening. A proper big-budget game set in a marvelous world of Harry Potter. Set before the events of the books in 1800s, at the famous Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and the world beyond. Hogwarts Legacy is described as an open-world RPG that will take you on an adventure in the Harry Potter universe. Coming to the PS5 next year, Adrian Robb, head of Avalanche, wrote in a blog post in a PlayStation's official website that the next-gen console will create immersive experiences that will let a player practically feel the terror of inferior bearing down upon them, or sense the ground rumbling beneath them as a herd of angry centaurs surrounds them.
Larger world beyond these walls. A world filled with dangers you can't yet imagine. An ancient knowledge long gone from this world.
One of the most impressive highlights from Sony's Future of Gaming presentation, Kena: Bridge of Spirits, is a third-person action-adventure title that's best summed up as The Legend of Zelda with pixel-level animation quality. The game looks absolutely magical, with its beautiful world complete with adorable little fuzzy creatures known as Road, who act as your spirit companions that can manipulate the environment. Kena: Bridge of Spirits instantly piqued my interest, and it's not hard to understand why. Up next, we've got Lord of the Rings: Gollum. Starting out in Barad-dûr, the Mordor fortress where Gollum is being held captive, the game will take you through plenty of Middle-earth locations which promises of giant, persistent environments, each harboring several questlines and a range of friendly or unfriendly faces. Unfortunately, this one we are going to have to wait a while for. The developers are just teasing us at the moment. The next entry in the Resident Evil franchise takes place a few years after Resident Evil 7, featuring Ethan and Mia. Only another familiar is also back, and he appears to be causing a spot of trouble for Ethan. Chris Redfield enters the scene and is set to set off a chain of events that leads to Ethan a mysterious village desperate for answers. And it also appears to feature werewolves. We know it's coming in 2021, so shouldn't have waited too long to find out more. a classic example of indie developers making smart use of limited resources to make distinctive, beautiful environments. Recompile is an inventive platformer where you got a pretty heavy task in front of you, hack your way through a virtual landscape, bring about the first technological singularity, and save humanity. In your way are all sorts of alien-looking creatures which you can shoot down, rush into, or dash around stealthily. Up next we got Far Cry 6. The latest in the Far Cry series is on its way, and it looks like it will be as explosive as ever. It's set on the fictional island of Yara, which you can pretty clearly see is inspired by Cuba, and looks colorful and fun, with a wide range of weapons, vehicles, and allies to call upon. Taking on the role of a guerrilla fighter, you set out to take down the dictatorship regime of Anton Castillo. Our next game is Horizon Forbidden West. Zero Dawn was a cult hit from the PS4 era. It garnered rave reviews at launch and has attracted more and more players to its lush single-player adventure over time. People were crying out for sequel and they are getting it. It looks like ELO's journeying to what remains of the US this time around. It looks absolutely gorgeous from this showing, with the new mechanical monsters and adversaries to overcome, and is set to be a showcase for the PS5's graphical capabilities. Sadly, we don't have a release window yet.
We journey from the ruins of our old world and into what lies beyond.
Up next, we've got Outriders. What happens if you blend Doom and Mass Effect? Well, it seems to be Outriders. Humanity is trying to inhabit a new planet called Enoch after Earth is rendered unusual. But a strange energy storm that clinked the anomaly has gifted them all with powerful abilities. The story of Outriders powered by one thing: freedom. The freedom to choose your weapons, your abilities, and armor. The freedom to fine-tune a character at the most granular level.
Do what you were sent here for. Go beyond the frontier.
It's the end of the goddamn world out there.
Up next, we've got Dying Light 2. Originally scheduled for release on PS4, Xbox One, and PC in spring 2020, Dying Light 2 recently got a major delay that stripped it off of any kind of release window. While that's a huge blow for current-gen gamers, it makes the idea of cross-generation release much more tangible. After all, developer Techland has already confirmed Dying Light 2 will come to PS5. If you are out of the loop, Dying Light 2 is a sequel to immense parkouring, zombie-slaying adventure and is set 15 years after the original. Up next, we've got Ratched. Insomniac is really doing the business for Sony nowadays, surprising nobody, and alongside the next Spider-Man, it's got a brand new Ratchet & Clank adventure in the form of Rift Apart. It looks like another colorful joyous romp with a new twist. There will be new gadgets, new worlds, and more to discover in Ratchet & Clank, including a brand new playable female Lombax from another dimension. Our next game is Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2. As a newly sired vampire, you'll find yourself caught up in blood trade war between competing vampire factions. With dialogue options, alliances to mate, and choices to make, Bloodlines 2 looks like it's shaping up to fill the void the first game left behind it.
Here, no one's hands stay clean.
Up next, we've got Stray. In this new adventure coming to the PS5 from Blue 12 Studio, you play as a cat in a world filled with robots. As a cat exploring this strange world, you'll gain a unique perspective from the eyes of a feline who can sneak under cars, traverse over rooftops, and go about unnoticed. The action of the game is set in a world where humanity is not even a memory. Our place was taken by robots, no different from typical people. Next up, we've got Gran Turismo 7. One of the grand old names of the racing games is coming to the PS5. Just as we hoped it would, the next Gran Turismo looks like it will once again push the envelope in terms of graphical fidelity and realism, with a revamped campaign mode that should be a little easier for players to get to grips with. Dragon Age 4 was, for several years, one of the most open secrets in gaming. After the ending of Dragon Age Inquisition's final DLC made it very clear that the saga of Tidus was far from over. We've been expecting another Dragon Age game to follow it. We still haven't actually gotten a proper look at Dragon Age 4's gameplay or even a title, but BioWare have begun to sprinkle out teasers more frequently as of summer 2020. Judging from the locations shown in the trailer, it looks like we may finally make the journey to the Tevinter Imperium, though this is still to be confirmed. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Quarantine is a 3-player, squad-based survival FPS being developed by an entirely new team at Ubisoft Montreal, led by game director Bio Jade. The Rainbow Six operators will face off against a mysterious threat infecting human hosts and their surroundings. And there's definitely a bit zombie outbreak about everything that looks to be going on. It has been confirmed that there's a number of elements from Rainbow Six Siege, including the appearance of some of the operators, to tie the two together.
There he is. We found him. Take him. I'll cover you.
Ragnarok is coming. Yes, God of War 2 is happening and it's set to land on the PS5 at some point in 2021. During a Sony Games showcase, a short but goosebump-inducing teaser trailer announcement featured Kratos' voice saying that
the time draws near. You must prepare yourself.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok is set to release sometime next year, and it will likely take us on quite the journey. That was all for today. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Have a good time.